I turn the light off. It's the moon all big and red. I guess it doesn't really look that. Let's see if I can zoom in. Oh yeah, that's kind of cool. So the moon is all big and orange over there, and I'm not going to be able to see what kind of image you guys have for a second. I don't know what's going on. It's like it won't let me. Okay, there we go. What the fuck is it? Oh, no. Man, I thought I was going to have it so... Oh, it's super weird. It says... rotate device. I don't know what the hell is going on. Why is it so grainy? That's terrible. That's terrible. I don't understand at all what's happening. Terrible. I don't understand at all what's happening. Oh, it wants me to stream this way now? And why, like, can you guys see anything? Can you put in the chat whether, because my screen is just like blinking orange and yellow. Can you put in the chat whether, because my screen is just like, yeah, I just have like this orange washout. Like, is it like that for you guys, or is anyone there? What the hell? No? What do you mean no? Is it just a bunch of crap, huh? Yeah, I don't know what the hell's going on. I can see it on the screen here. No, there's nothing in the way. Let me try flipping it around. Is that better? Nope. Well, it's black now, right? Mine is definitely black. What the hell is going on? I mean, I can see everything on my phone. Yeah, I mean, so you can hear me, but everything is just black. That just doesn't make any sense. Like, what the fuck could be going on? This just makes no sense at all, dude. Well, hi guys, thanks for tuning in. I don't know what the hell's up with my stream right now. I guess I have to make a new link and start over again, but yeah, that's weird. Let me see, pushing buttons. I don't know, dude. Oh, okay. I mean, I'm still like the wrong way on the screen. It won't let me turn sideways either. So, okay, whatever. At least we're able to see each other now. Yeah, I don't know what happened, man. But it doesn't matter that much. We can live with this. Okay, so there's a bunch of stuff. I came across an opportunity today. I was already aware of this opportunity, but there's something strange about every time I run into this woman. Like, when my friend from Holland was here, like, he would mention something he needed, and she would turn out to be the only person that could provide it, and she would be like standing behind us or something. You know what I mean? Like, there's just been this weird thing with this woman. And so today I was wondering about her and this guy that she told me about, who was supposedly living with the Rurani and the Shuar in the jungle for a long time. And I had been in touch with the Safe DMT crew, who is interested in trying to hook the indigenous people up with cryptocurrency. And you know, we've been trying to figure out like how it's really difficult in Ecuador to like sell it. So I mean, it's like, it's okay, like, okay, great, you've turned your conservation money over 100x with crypto, but now it's just Matic or Cardano. Like, what are they gonna do with it, you know? And maybe eventually Cardano or Matic or these companies, they'll do what they're doing in Africa and they'll come down here. I mean, I'm sure it'll happen. But in the meantime, you know, like we want to make something happen now. And, you know, so we were discussing like, okay, well, I had this idea before I started talking to them. And so that was really trippy that they were kind of like, they had already, in fact, I saw it in their Telegram that they had been talking about this idea. I've actually been talking to a guy from the Schwar Federation about this very thing. And so it was just a really serendipitous meeting with the Safe DMT guys, which, in case you haven't been following the latest live streams, it's a charity token for psychedelic research. I have seen the dev team's faces. You know, the crypto world is full of scams and rug pulls, and these guys are totally like, I've seen them all now. We've talked for 2.5 hours the other day. They're as legit as it gets, I think. And so I'm fully backing them, collaborating with them even. I'm not just like shilling for their product. Because I think they really believe in what they're doing. I believe in what they're doing. And they're also interested in supporting indigenous causes. And so what happened is that this lady knows the woman who made the documentary Blood of the Amazon. And also some other folks that could play vital roles in the rest of this stuff. And one of those things is that there is 1,500 hectares of pristine Amazon, only accessible by boat with access to 3 rivers. One of the rivers is notoriously loaded with gold, and you can actually extract the gold without doing any environmental damage at all because it's all loose, so you could just set up sluices. The owner had a really bad experience here, so he's willing to take payments of basically whatever, whenever. And you could almost certainly pay for the property and more by just sluicing gold. I mean, the indigenous here, there's tons of gold here. That's why the Chinese are here destroying everything. So on top of that, there are already buildings on the property. So 3 rivers, 1,500 hectares, buildings already built. And there's another guy who has been, he works with all these different indigenous groups, and they've already started these sort of like startup programs where they have like opportunities for people to come and volunteer and work with the Warani or the Quechua or whoever it might be to learn, you know, their basket weaving techniques or plant medicine stuff, or, you know, they make like preserves out of a lot of the crazy jungle fruits that grow in the jungle everywhere. And so we have, you know, this like world-renowned Shipibo healer up the road from me. I mean, 45 minutes, but, you know, and we have the Quechua and we have the Warani, who are barely contacted here. I mean, they speared missionaries in like 2003. So, you know, they're not like, they still live in the jungle. They still dress traditionally. The thumbnail for this, those were Warani children that I met in the park today. So, I mean, they still, you know, they're living traditionally downriver a little bit from here. So this like grand scheme is coming into my head to try to organize some investors. My friend that was from Holland seemed like he might be thinking about it when the woman was first telling us about this property. And so now I'm thinking I'll explain to the Safe DMT guys, because what the lady suggested, because I told her, you know, I have this idea with cryptocurrency, and I've already been talking to some of the indigenous environmental groups and indigenous rights groups and stuff about this, and they're receptive. And she said, well, what you really need to do is buy land and protect it that way. And I was under the impression that the Chinese mines could just come and take it. And then, because, okay, so I've talked about how they would just kill the title hold, the deed holder. And so what I was told by a shaman, he's not an indigenous person, he's a Czech guy that worked with the Schwar. By the way, if you're wondering why none of these shaman have ever been on this channel, they're notoriously camera shy, or you have to pay them. You have to pay people these days to do anything. So that's why we don't have a lot of interviews. But when my my partner gets back into town, she speaks much better Spanish than me. We are going to start going out into the jungle and talking to them. We're only here for a month longer, I guess, although with this plan sort of materializing, that may change. We'll see how she feels about that. But we had planned to go out into the deep jungle and live, and now here's this situation where there's like multiple buildings. I mean, I've seen pictures of the property. It's beautiful, and the buildings are actually nice. And considering how large the property is, and the fact that there's lots of potential to make income, it's kind of ridiculous. And this is one of the things that we have been trying to figure out, is like how to make conservation profitable. So in this case, that would be that we would find a group of people, buy this huge chunk of rainforest, and have plant medicine ceremonies there, and host indigenous workshops and retreats with the indigenous people, and also sluice gold out of the rivers. And I think there's probably enough that can be done that would more than pay for the property and protect it. I mean, it's 1,500 hectares is pretty big. I can't remember what a hectare is. I think it's like 2.5 acres. So that's a pretty damn big chunk of land. And the owner just wants to be done with it. I guess he's in Canada or something. And so that's what that's about. I'd put that in the title. And so, if any of you out there know anyone or yourselves interested in being part owner of a big chunk of Ecuadorian Amazon, this is an opportunity, and I'm gonna see what I can do. I haven't talked to the Safe DMT guys explicitly about this situation, but I mean, they definitely were mentioning that they want to work with indigenous people, and that they're looking for a go-between. And I think that also the fact that there's even the potential to make it a conservation business. And I think that that's much more sustainable than typical just donation-based, charity-based conservation efforts, because, then you're just relying on people's spare change or whatever. I mean, I think it's probably much more viable to have conservation businesses. That's one of the beauties of cryptocurrency, is that we can make a profit by conserving the Amazon, or testicular cancer. Schmegmars, that's a really big token right now, and it's all about save our balls is their slogan. So and now the psychedelic research tokens are coming out and stuff. So pretty cool. Okay, so I said I was going to talk about my why, and by part, gosh, man, some people's kids, my perception of our global chaostrophe is that it is caused by a crisis of purpose. I probably say that every single live stream in some form or another, but it's true, and it's important. And I think the deterministic, reductionist kind of viewpoint of the universe is completely insane. And I think that there have been some recent current events that really serve to elucidate how flawed our perceptual apparatus is. And I think that one of the gifts that psychedelic medicine gives us is the ability to acquire the humility to accept these lessons without self-righteous indignation, which is generally what you get from people when you confront their cognitive bias and selective perception and cognitive dissonance, fight or flight, anger, irrational responses. And almost everyone does it. I mean, everyone is delusional to some extent about something. And watching this stuff unravel, first of all, just the fact that Bill Gates is like going down while the COVID thing is coming out with their weird connection, Bill Gates' weird connection to COVID in general, it's just too much, And I think that those kind of synchronicities are meaningful. Just like today when I was thinking about the woman that I wanted to talk to about this property, And the guy that she had talked about, I never explained that part. I was wondering about her because I wanted to meet him, and then they walked up. You know, I mean, and I think that one of the gifts of psychedelic medicine and mind expansion in any form, you know, the meditators experience this kind of stuff as well. It's not just something that people that use psychedelics experience, or people that undergo Jungian analysis, or New Agers. You know, it's like anyone that makes any effort at expanding their consciousness. And I think it's because you bridge the subconscious and conscious mind, and also, you know, particularly with psychedelics, you're using parts of the brain that are not normally engaged. You're perceiving more of what is there. And so these kind of meaningful coincidences are one of the primary experiences that come along. And so, yeah, you know, they can be on a personal level or a global level. And in fact, you know, in one of my older live streams, like a year ago, I remember talking about how I was expecting like macroscopic, macro synchronicities, so that it's no longer just on a personal level, that we're witnessing this stuff collectively as like a single consciousness, because that's what we are. And so I think as more and more of us oscillate higher and higher and higher, it pulls the entire web of human consciousness along with it. And so that's another interesting thing about how this all works. I think it's all fundamentally connected, and it's not woo, it's science. You know, entrainment, entanglement. There are all sorts of physical basis theories and even demonstrable, you know, proofs that these things are things. You know, and particularly entrainment is something that you can measure pretty easily. And so this I found out today, it just blew my mind. Bill Gates' excuse for why he was hanging out with Epstein, his new thing that he said, because in case you haven't been following this, first he said, I only met him once, and then he said, well, I might have gone over there half a dozen times, and then it was 13, and then it was 40 or whatever, and then it's like, you know, they've uncovered enough evidence that they were like really close and all, you know, and they didn't connect until after Epstein's first conviction. So Gates knew that he was cavorting about crazily all over the globe with with a known convicted child molesting sex trafficker. He tried to give him a spot on his board at the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation in order to reform his reputation and all this stuff, right? So, but that I talked about yesterday. What I found out today is that Bill Gates' new excuse is that he said that Epstein was going to help him get a Nobel Peace Prize, and that's why he was talking to him. So I'm like, so you're telling me that how you get a Nobel Peace Prize is that you help a convicted child sex trafficker, billionaire child sex trafficker, reform his, rehabilitate his image, and that's how you get a Nobel Peace Prize? I mean, I kind of thought that was how it worked, but I didn't really expect to hear them actually say it, you know? Like, what is this guy thinking? Like, that's the explanation that he gives, you know? Like, he's like, well, yeah, okay, so I'm probably a pedophile, and the system is unbelievably corrupt. So, and this is going somewhere other than just, you know, like I told you so, kind of like for on behalf of conspiracy theorists everywhere. I mean, seriously, like, you know, whatever that guy's telling us to inject our kids with, sign me right up, you know, send a half a dozen to the hotel room. I mean, what the fuck are people thinking? So there's that. And then the other thing I didn't know last night when I was talking about all this stuff is that not only was COVID, you know, just all we'll go through it all again in a second, but I didn't realize that it wasn't infectious to humans until this variant arrived on the scene. And, you know, so if you like factor that into the equation, We now suddenly, remember, guys, that this sudden 180 on behalf of the mainstream narrative is not due to new information. Nothing new. There's nothing new about any of it. It's all the same shit they said in the first place. And I seriously watched, this is on YouTube, Fauci getting interrogated by some congressman or senator or something, you know, whoever does that. And the government guy that is grilling Fauci or whatever his name is like, so really, really obvious that this was like engineered in a lab. Why would you even have ever tried to tell us otherwise? And my mouth just fell open like, what the fuck? Are you serious? Like, really? You are the people that were telling everyone that it was absolutely ludicrous and that anyone that suggested that it came from a laboratory was either insane or stupid. By the way, you guys, I had a revelation about idiots today. Idiot is no longer a term that refers to like a stupid person or a person that is incapable of critical thinking. An idiot is a person that does not conform to whatever protocol the herd has accepted for evaluating information. No, it wasn't Rand Paul. Wait, Rand Paul? Oh, you know, I always get Ron Paul and Rand Paul confused. It might have been Rand Paul. Yeah, but it was crazy, man. And Fauci was just like, well, I didn't really say that. And it's like, man, come on. When this happened, I was on Facebook saying like, okay, so you're telling us that a virus that is only engineered at this one laboratory in the world is found on the fucking doorstep of that laboratory. I mean, that is like smoking gun all by itself. I mean, if you just consider like how big the planet is, and you know, it's just that in and of itself is just too stupid, you know? And if you just pointed that out, people would fly into some kind of like Karen on steroids rage, like normie head exploding muggles on, you know, rage, like it was terrible, man. People flipped, you're an idiot, like if you think that our scientists are wrong about anything ever. And it's like, well, who's paying them? That's the first thing you ask. Like, it's not that science isn't real or whatever it is. I know that there are conspiracy theorists and whatnot out there that say that kind of shit, but they're really the reason why a lot of people just write off conspiracy theorists, right? Like, I mean, you know what I was saying earlier about how an idiot is really by normie standards, an idiot is a person that does not use the herd approved protocol for evaluating information. That's really what an idiot is in most people's minds. It doesn't mean you're stupid. It doesn't mean that you're not good at critical thinking. It just means that you're not using their system to evaluate information. You're not just blindly accepting, like if some official institution says something, you know, you're expected to believe it or you're an idiot. And think about how Orwellian that is, you guys. Really, like, if you think for yourself, you are stupid. That is literally the mainstream narrative on intelligence and critical thinking right now. Truly. And all you have to do is look at the COVID, the way this is developed. I mean, it was insane to watch this guy, you know, grilling Fauci and saying like, this is so dumb that why would you have ever tried to, and it's like, okay, wait a minute. How is it that the government is just all of a sudden just flipping the script without any new information? Like this was super obvious to anyone that was really thinking, right, for themselves, right away. And this guy was seriously presenting it like, this is so dumb. How dare you try to convince us? God damn, man. So, I mean, I guess, you know, once again, I'm just hoping that people will actually pay attention to this stuff and realize that you cannot just follow the mainstream narrative. You cannot trust any institution on this planet ever again. You have to think for yourself. You have to question authority. It's just really obvious at this point that we can't trust these motherfuckers. I mean, that was the craziest thing ever. And then so when I heard that Bill Gates was actually saying that, oh, well, yeah, I mean, I was just talking to him because I thought he could get me a Nobel Prize. It's like, okay, so now the elite pedophile conspiracy is real. COVID did come from a lab. What else? What's next? What's next? Have you been locked in your fucking house just because billionaires were afraid that we were all about to come and kill them? Probably. Almost definitely. So, yeah. Well, I guess we've lost almost everyone with my think for yourself rant. Which really, I mean, that sucks because it's really important, I think. I mean, I know it is, you know, that people somehow take note of the fact that they were so outraged at anyone that dared to question the narrative we were getting. And now, like, literally, the government is saying that the narrative was so dumb that how could anyone have ever believed it, and how dare they try to feed it to us. I mean, that's pretty intense in my opinion. So what I was what I was saying before that, man, is some Karen yuppie lady watched one of my videos, and she like sent me messages on Facebook like, just why? Like, why do you do this? Like, what are you trying to do to people? You know, I mean, it was pretty bad. You know, she was pretty upset that I exist, I guess, that I would dare to soil the minds of the poor innocent YouTube viewers out there that were exposed to my lunatic logic and I don't know what exactly. But I do have kind of an answer, you know, and it's just that I know that I am good at helping people to see that deterministic reductionist reality is not the whole story. And so that's why I'm compelled to talk, because I think that our disconnection with that fundamental truth is why we have school shootings. It's why the ocean is testing positive for Xanax. It is why TikTok is full of girls that are lip syncing other people's stuff. No one is like creating their own content. They're all doing the same like 2 TikTok trends. And you know, it's basic primate instinct to imitate other primates. But I think it's clearly gotten to the point where it's really disturbing, you know, to get on TikTok and like scroll through it and you see people just lip syncing the same 3 things, the same facial expressions. You can tell that all of the girls have gotten their personalities from Disney cartoons. Like, that's the thing. They move and all of their expressions are based on Disney cartoons. It's like any kind of sense of individual identity is gone, and any kind of purpose to their art. I mean, this is like, what are they doing? For me, if you are reciting a poetry, or you're telling a joke, or you're playing a song, or you're singing a song, it's personal expression. It is a means to convey a message or a feeling. And I mean, it wouldn't be so disturbing if it was like some small percentage of these people that were just imitating each other, but that's all there is. It's like almost nothing but people lip syncing and making the same. I mean, you guys know what I'm talking about. These like trending TikTok things, they're all the same. It blew my mind the other day because I was looking for, you know, ways to expand my social media presence, because I'm trying to raise money for conservation and my health problems, and maybe, now we have to move like sooner than I was expecting. We thought we had 4 months maybe, and it's probably more like 1 month. So, you know what I mean? So I found TikTok, and then I'm scrolling through it, and I'm like, oh my God, they're all doing the same pointless, meaningless stuff. They're all just imitating like 2 or 3 people. Um, and so I think that what gives us a sense of fulfillment and a sense of purpose uh, is in large part having a clear and confident conception of what our individual identity is and means of expression for that identity. And I think in this totally consumer oriented, meaningless, pointless culture that we find ourselves immersed in, we have an emptiness that, it leads to, like I said, school shootings and people just being drugged on Xanax, and then, as an adjutant, there's the fear, and the drugs facilitate the kind of state of mind that compels people to believe a completely stupid narrative like the one we were given about COVID at first, and to actually become so invested in their comforting illusions that they'll lose their minds if people challenge them. Yeah, well, that's the Great Awakening theory, and I'm I'm on the fence about what's about to happen. It kind of does seem like there are psychos in power that would rather enslave the entire human race than give up their control of it. So, I don't know. I also have known for a long time that population reduction is a thing. It's always been a concern of empire. There's nothing new under the sun, and there's certainly nothing new about engineering populations within empires. It's pretty much necessary. I mean, you can project like how much certain sectors are going to grow. You know how much you need them to grow. How many people you need of whatever level of education. And so that's what wars and I mean, what do you mean it's going to take some hard times? We're in hard times. We've had hard times. I mean, hard times wake some people up, but they also put a lot of people to sleep. I mean, I think it's going to take catalysts of consciousness, and that's happening. But I've also noticed that it very much seems that as we grow as a movement, a loose but somehow interrelated movement of people evolving their consciousness, experiencing some form of gnosis in some form or another, whether it's psychedelics or yoga or whatever, I mean, there is resistance, and the machinations that are suppressing the developments that lead to the realization of individual sovereignty. I mean, I don't think one of the examples of spiritual propaganda, I think, is this idea that like illuminated people are so rare, and that these sort of like exalted states of consciousness are so distant from our day-to-day normal, average person. I don't think that's true at all. I think it's really actually a very, very thin veil. And it doesn't really take that much to dissolve that barrier. Uh, Once the gears are set in motion, the initial catalyst, unfortunately, for most people that are really entrenched in the Matrix mind, uh, oftentimes does have to be some, um, tremendous crisis, or you know, something something really big has to happen to them in order to compel them to really um, find it necessary, or to compel them to really embrace breaking free from their mind forged manacles and elevating their consciousness. And so that's one of the reasons why I'm so interested in this jungle property. I feel like one of the best things we can possibly do is to find enclaves where we have, weather that, and this is the crazy thing about this area where I'm at. It's not that hot. It doesn't rain all the time. Uh, there are no mosquitoes, um, and it's the fucking rainforest. You generally cannot have all of those things in the jungle. In the jungle you have heat, you have constant rain, and you have like walls, like solid walls of mosquitoes that you need like machetes to chop through, just like the vines in the jungle. Um, Man, and today, I'm still like yesterday. I thought I was getting a lot better and I felt stronger. And then today I was gonna go gold panning. I made it out to the road and I was already like trembling and weak and I couldn't do it. So instead I went to town, but it was still kind of cool. I ran into the Warani children running around. That's the picture on the thumbnail. Um, and they, like I was saying earlier, they live traditionally in the jungle down the river, and they come up to town every once in a while to, the moms sell their jewelry, and the kids just kind of run around in the park. And so I sat on the bench, and there is a troop of capuchin monkeys that hang out in the park, and well, that's what I'm saying. There's no mosquitoes here. There really isn't any malaria. I mean, I've heard of a few people getting dengue fever, but the shamans here, the Quechua, they're pretty good with the plant medicine, and the gringos just call it their jungle juice. So if you get sick, the shaman just comes over and gives you this big cup of really bitter, thick, horrible plant stuff, and you drink it, and then you drink another one the next day, and if you can keep it down, you'll get better. It doesn't matter if it's COVID or beriberi or dengue fever or what. You're just gonna get better like right away. In my case, I probably have severe liver damage, so I can't just like kill a virus and get better. Otherwise, the plant medicine would have straightened me out a lot faster. Although I do think that anything that has ayahuasca in it is very helpful for inflammation. Today was not really a good day for me. I'm definitely feeling really weak and tired. But anyways, I was in the park and sitting on the bench, and there's the alpha male of the local capuchin troop, the monkeys. He's kind of dangerous from what people say, and you might be thinking like, well, it's just a monkey, but they have huge canines, like way bigger than a dog relative to their size, and you don't understand the strength of a monkey until you've seen one like try to smash something, or it's crazy. Like the first time I realized how strong they were, it had just grabbed somebody's water bottle and it was trying to smash it open. It's a monkey, and it sounded like somebody like slamming cinder blocks into the concrete. I mean, it was crazy how powerful these fucking monkeys are. So I'm sitting on the bench, and the alpha male, who's actually kind of attacked me before, I had a water bottle, and they really like water bottles and soda bottles because sometimes there's juice or lemonade or soda probably, and they really like it. And they know how to take the tops off. They'll come down out of the trees and grab a soda bottle, take the top off, and drink it just like a human. It's hilarious to watch. But I'm sitting on the bench, and the alpha male of the Capuchin tribe jumps into my lap, and I was kind of frozen, like, really, that really just happened? Because he's, it's like basically a pit bull with opposable thumbs. They're really, really strong and huge, huge canines. Uh, yeah, well, there's no real, I mean, nobody really gets malaria here. I mean, it happens sometimes, I guess, but it's not like a big thing that you really need to worry about. But what I'm saying about that is that this opportunity to buy this land here and conserve, I mean, the jungles here are full of ayahuasca, so having plant medicine ceremonies is definitely not a difficult thing to arrange. There's several different tribes, so we have all this different culture to have workshops and stuff, and the weather is always decent. The mosquitoes don't exist, so I just think it's a really, really nice opportunity. I mean, if you're in Peru, like in the heart of the Amazon, you're not going to be sitting out. Look, I'm outside. Is the moon still over there? Oh yeah, it is. See the big red moon. Um, you're not going to be sitting outside on a hammock just chilling like this in the jungle anywhere, really. It's just this weird circumstance. The reason actually is that there are tons of these tiny little fish, I guess, in the lagoons and in all the still water that eat all the mosquito eggs. And so, I mean, I've seriously seen like 3 mosquitoes or something. There are less mosquitoes here than there were in California or anywhere I've ever lived. There are black flies, which are annoying, but they're not vectors of disease. So, they hurt a little bit, but uh, and they're worse some days than others. They kind of come and go. Do me a favor, you guys, hit the like button, share, subscribe, support us on Patreon if you're interested in premium content, secret streams and whatnot. Um, we really do appreciate your support. Obviously, I'm trying to do like real. I'm trying to get some conservation projects going. Working with these cryptocurrency companies. I'm doing a tremendous amount of research all the time. I do a lot of work to try to come up with cryptocurrency opportunities and figure out which tokens are actually doing meaningful stuff out there. So I really do appreciate your support because we've been demonetized. We don't get any money from YouTube anymore, and the super chat is disabled. So we have the PayPal, the Zelle connected to the email in the description and the chat, and also there is a crypto wallet. And we really appreciate that because our stuff is locked up and there is some good opportunities. Let me tell you real quick, actually. HODL, HODL, and be careful because I didn't get scammed, but there are a bunch of fake HODL tokens. And so you get BNB, and it's actually a lot of it, considering the amount of money that you're investing. And it has been blowing up for days, man. I was so mad that I didn't get in at the bottom because it's like 15x at this point from like 2 days ago. And they have a charity pool. And so, I mean, the other day, we had like $30 loose in BNB and we put it in there, and I checked back a few hours later and it was like $300. It was like 10x in a couple hours. So, I mean, you guys, this is real. Like, cryptocurrency really does this. And a lot of these platforms really are giving a lot of money to different charities and organizations. Watch out for Aqua Goat, though. I hear that they're not actually giving money to the people that clean up the ocean. That they don't. There's no evidence that they've given anything to charity. And for a platform with what is it, like a $90 million market cap, and they're like, we gave $12,000. Like, you guys are douchebags. They're not even selling a product. Like, basically, people are just giving you money. You know what I mean? Like, they can withdraw it, but it's kind of a weird thing, shit coins. And anyways, just be careful because a lot of them aren't really doing what they are marketing in terms of their charity. So But then again, a lot of them are, like the safe DMT guys that I'm working with. I would really encourage you guys to get involved with that. I don't have a link in the description here, but just look up safe DMT. There are no fake websites. Psychedelic research token. They're trying to raise money to help indigenous people, and I'm working with them to try to facilitate that. Uh, so. So yeah, so I don't know. You guys have any questions for me? There's always questions. Sorry, I'm so tired and kind of out of it, but it's just kind of how it is lately. uh, oh, I haven't showed you guys the spider, have I? I wonder if I can flip it. Can I flip the camera around? I think you guys want to see the spider. I know last time I mentioned it, everybody was like, "Show us the spider," and I didn't have a flashlight, but I just noticed that I do have a flashlight. And tarantulas are very much creatures of habit. They're always in the same. Oh, he's barely sticking out this time, though. That's too bad. But here, let me see if you guys can. Yeah, I mean, you can barely see him. Let me see if I can zoom in a little bit. Yeah. Every single night, he's just right there. I don't know how the hell it eats. Although one night I was I was in the kitchen and I hear this blood curdling scream, and so I go running up to the bedroom, like expecting to find my partner like in a puddle of blood with some kind of like mountain, or I mean jungle monster standing over her grinning or whatever, and it's just this tarantula. Um, yeah, spiders are cool. I've actually been meaning to pick one of these tarantulas up because I don't. It's not that I don't like spiders. I just don't want them on me. Like I've never in my life, I don't think, intentionally picked up a spider. And I know the tarantulas are like mice. They're sweet, and even if they bite you, it's just like a bee sting or whatever. Um, so I don't know, man. My why is just that I know for certain that I'm good at helping people to perceive a little bit more, and out in reality, that there's the universe is like somehow an intelligent, conscious uh, being, but there are constraints and limitations that are like, it's restricted by natural law. Impossible things don't happen. But if you're convinced that certain things that are very subtle uh, don't happen, then you won't perceive them. I'm certain of that as well. Um, and it's something that I've been doing my entire life. When I was yeah, something like that. But when I was a kid, there were these little, uh, I don't know what they're like glowworms, I guess. Um, but I was like 16 or something, and I had never noticed them before. And I was walking along beside a creek, and there were all these glowing little green gems. It looked like all over the ground. I mean, I might have been on acid even. And so I picked one up, and it was like this weird little worm with these two little dots, not like a firefly where they have the whole butt that blinks. There's these two little dots. And um, so the next couple of times that I saw them, I was with someone else my age, and every single person I pointed them out to had never noticed them before. And I just thought, okay, these things are all over the ground glowing, and no one's noticed them until I point them out. Um, I don't know what you're talking about. You're talking about capturing fish and shipping them back to the United States? I don't understand. Um, oh, you mean to generate revenue? Yeah, I mean, I don't know about capturing wildlife in the Amazon and selling it. That's not very conservation-y. Conservation-y? Is that even like a real word? Um, Yeah, and also, did you guys hear they found a piranha in Louisiana? Someone was fishing and they caught it. It's not good. So that's another reason not to ship things to the United States. People let stuff go in rivers, and there's a huge problem. I have a video where I eat this dinosaur. Like it's literally a dinosaur. I mean, you might think that I'm exaggerating, but I'm not exaggerating. It's a fucking dinosaur. Like literally a dinosaur. It has its scales are not scales. They're armor, like hard. Like I try to break one on the video, and you can. I mean, I'm like, and it's only that big, you know. But they're not just really hard scales. Well, that's not good. We could talk about it if you want to, if you care to share. Oh, well, maybe it is good. Maybe you're working something out, you know, or maybe it was just something you ate. But yeah, those are all like little tiny fish. I think every fish on that list is very small. What was that? But anyways, the armored catfish it's called, and when they get big, it's crazy. They have like these like, you know how catfish have whiskers? These things have just like sticks that bend, like sticks. They're like, I guess so they can feel around the bottom just like a catfish would with whiskers. But these are like, you know, that big around, and they come out and like curl down. And then they have like suckerfish mouths, like vagina faces, and really really hard armor that is like bulletproof. Like it's insane. And I guess they have not evolved in 500 million years. So it's a dinosaur. And somehow they're from here. Like the river in our backyard has them. All the rivers in the Amazon basin, I think they're pretty common type of fish. Somehow they've gotten loose in Texas, and it's illegal not to keep them if you catch them, because they burrow into the banks of the rivers and they cause all kinds of crazy erosion and collapsing of. So you know, sending animals from one region of the planet to another is just asking for trouble. So, I mean, I appreciate the suggestion, but it's just not suitable for my purposes as a wannabe conservationist, you know. Man, what happens if I turn the phone? Nothing really? Nothing. Yeah, because I wanted to put it on the thing so that I could maybe play a song or something, but Orgonite and soaker punches, zappers. Orgonite I've heard of. I can picture it. I mean, my recollection is that it's a mineral that is used to filter energy. Is that right? Isn't it like or maybe it's semi-synthetic or something? There's like some metal under the mineral. Yeah, no, I guess I don't really know. I guess I don't really know that much about it. So, what else, guys? Metal and carbon. Yeah, no, I don't really know. I assume it has some relationship to orgone, which is, who is that guy? The orgone guy? Yeah. Well, good luck with that, man. I mean, I think it's like $500,000 or something. But 1,500 hectares is maybe it was 650,000 or something like that. 1,500 hectares is really big, and another potential that exists. It takes 3 years, but pitahaya grows really well here. It's a cactus fruit, and even here in Ecuador, they are $1. Oh yeah, Reich. Yep. So, if you export them, they are pretty expensive. And we did the math the other day with this lady that introduced us to the situation, and it's a lot of money for like an acre. You can produce a lot of pitahaya. So there's a lot that could be done with this land to pay for it and even make a profit. And I don't know. I'm really serious about, I mean, you guys know if you follow me that I have never really interacted or interfaced with Matrix world. So like I don't have any credit. I don't know how to get a mortgage. I've never like walked into a bank and tried to do anything. I I mean, I've only had a bank account for maybe 6 months out of my entire life. I have no idea how to find investors or yeah, 3,700 acres of jungle, with 3 rivers, and there's probably already some, I think she said there's oh yeah, there is like a huge, oh, I think it's 1,500 of those acres are already planted with corn. So I'm pretty sure the corn alone more than pays for the what the mortgage payments would be every month. So, and I mean, it is a serious thing that the Chinese, there's a ton of gold here. If you do join my Patreon, there's a video where I go into a cave and I turn the flashlight on and look around, and there's gold everywhere, like everywhere. And I know minerals. It's not pyrite. It's not paint. It's, yeah, 175 bucks an acre. It's gold. I mean, there is a ton of gold here. It's not a joke. Like that's why the Chinese are here destroying the jungle and raising all the trees. I mean, you guys, you have to, if you've never been here, you have to come. The trees, there are trees here that are as big as redwoods, pretty much. They're like 1,500 years old. There's like God only knows how many different species of creature living in every single tree, I mean, I was walking around in the jungle today and there was like ayahuasca vines every like 6 feet, just crazy, like twisted up, just insane. It's just insane. And to imagine that they're just bulldozing through it just to get the gold out of the ground, I mean, it's super stupid. And one of the other things that I'm trying to do is convince the Shuar and the Warani, and some of the other people here to get the gold themselves, and they're just really bad at it because they don't have, no one's really taught them. They have their traditional way of doing it with big wooden gold pans, and it's not that they're bad at it. It's just that they're not efficient. They don't use snuffer bottles. Like I had to have someone bring me a snuffer bottle from the United States because they don't have them here. And the reality is that at least 60% of the gold that they're panning is dust. And so they just get the flecks out and then they throw the rest of it back in the river. And so they're getting like 30% of the gold that they pan, and it's enough for them to make a living. So it's like, okay, so if we could just get even like, someone to ship 1,000 snuffer bottles down here, we could change these communities and like triple their income. There's a lot of stuff that can be done very easily to really empower the people here in the Amazon. And unfortunately, the battle is going to be fought financially, first and foremost. Yeah, a homemade sluice would kill it, man. It's crazy how much gold there is. I haven't really been well enough to go out and pan, but tomorrow I just don't even care anymore. I'm just gonna drag myself out there below this mine, and I think it's not actually a cave. I think it was an old Spanish mine, and they just got the main vein out and they left all the scraps. Um, well, panning is not really limited to fine gold. Oh, limited for fine gold. Yeah, well, yeah, sure, but there's plenty of flakes. I mean, there are a lot of people here that make their living just panning gold, and like I said, they throw like 60% of it back in the river. So I sure I can make a decent amount of money just panning gold here. And this spot where I'm going is incredibly good because it's all the what is it called, the base rock. Is it's There's almost no dirt. It's just solid rock running down past this gold mine, through the gold mine, and down into the waterfalls. And so you can just go to the waterfalls and pan the gold out. But at any rate, as much gold as there is in this part of Ecuador, this property that we're looking at has the river that has the most gold of all of the rivers here, running right through it. So I really do feel like this is my task. Basically, this is my plan. I have sort of an actionable goal, and really the problem is money. I need money, because I have to rent a guide, even though I don't need a guide. I just need a canoe, but I still have to get a guide because that's what comes with the canoe, and have them take me down the river, and I'll have to pay them, and then we have to go see the property. And if I go that far into the jungle, I'm gonna have to stay in the jungle, and so yeah, the bottom of the waterfalls is gonna slay for sure. Uh, so I have to go out into the jungle, and then I have to hire a canoe and a guide, and then we're gonna go to the property, and then I'm going to do some test pans and confirm the presence of the gold on camera. Uh, and For those of you that are just tuning in, by the way, I'm not concocting some plan to exploit like minerals in the Amazon. We're talking about environmentally non-impactful sluicing in order to pay the mortgage on a conservation um, project. So it's not you're not tuning in to Illuminostic conspiring to like join the Chinese. Like, if you can't beat them, join them. Fuck it. Let's just get rich, tear the Amazon apart. We're trying to stop that. Um, and it's true. There's a ton of gold, man. That's why they're here, And I think that's what we need to use the stuff that they're coming here to get against them, to stop them. We need to get it ourselves, because if we don't, they're gonna, I mean, and we can do it through like much more non-intrusive methods. Um, I mean, there's not much we can do because we're like locked out of wallets, which is super stupid and kind of embarrassing. But there's that, and I mean, we haven't really recovered that much. We can't. What are we going to recover with? I mean, we had to live off of a lot of the investment money. We waited for Cardano to take off forever, and nothing happened. And by the time Cardano finally did start to, it was just so frustrating, man, because I didn't know the tokens to buy. I knew Safe Moon, but I couldn't get it from here until more recently. But the big gains had already happened by the time we figured out how to buy it. Um, and then Cardano, I knew was going to be great. And I also, it's values investing is important. Only put your money where you believe in it. And it's not just about the if you don't care about my hippie idealism or whatever. It's also a hedge against volatility, because especially in the crypto market, yeah, my health is bad. That's why I'm like, my speech is almost slurred and I'm laying in a hammock. It's pretty bad, man. It's pretty bad today. Yesterday was a lot better, but today's pretty rough. Um, so, anyways, yeah, I mean, you asked about the crypto, and I'm trying to explain that, like, Matic, if I had bought it 6 months ago when I was thinking about it, $116 is now over a million. So that sucked. I don't mind crypto. You just buy it and then wait. But we did have 30 BNB still loose, and put it in on HODL the other day, and it became like $300 in a few hours. So that's crazy. I mean, HODL right now, I think it's probably, you can buy it. It's going to be another Safe Moon or something. You get BNB for holding it, and it's actually quite a bit of it. So, and they have a charity pool, so you can feel good about investing in it. Gamer's about to blow up for sure. Safe DMT, you guys, psychedelic research charity token. It's at a $28,000 market cap or something. So if you buy $30 worth of it and it goes up to like a $3 million market cap, you're gonna have like 30 grand. So I mean a $30 million market cap, but that's still not very big for crypto. Uh, why is it mined? What do you mean? Why is crypto mined? I don't know that much about mining crypto. I do know that it is extremely energy consumptive, and that that's why I don't own any Bitcoin or Ethereum, because they're both tragic burdens on the environment. And so there are other protocols. I mean, I don't know what you mean by a Ponzi scheme. I have never heard of, being able to put $30 in an investment and get $300 back a few hours later. Um, I don't really think there is a deep mystery behind the mining. It has something to do with just transactions and solving problems of some kind. I mean, it's how they derive value by just processing information. I guess I'm not really sure. And I think it depends on the protocol too. I mean, um, but for the time being, yeah, I don't, like I said, I don't really know anything about mining, and I don't really care. I mean, I'm not interested in the long term longevity feasibility of it. People are like, we're in a bubble. I'm like, I don't care if we're in a bubble. I'm not planning on like sitting on cryptocurrency for the next yeah, exactly. I mean, sure, it might be a Ponzi scheme. I mean, but in the meantime, uh, we can generate, billions of dollars in a couple of hours or whatever for conservation projects and psychedelic research and whatnot. So it's fine. It can be a Ponzi scheme if it wants to be. And I think that that well, it's not too late, man. Cardano is probably still gonna 8x or 10x. But yeah, if you sold it during a dip, then you're totally fucked. And I didn't really know what I was doing, as much as I thought. I mean, and also you have to be really careful about being emotionally, like your emotional state when you're investing in a really volatile thing. Like you really have to remain calm. And when they tell you that it's super volatile and you're gonna have moments where I thought I would be able to be totally aloof and it would be no problem at all, and I would just watch it go up and down and just know that in the end it would be okay. And that's not how it was at all. you know, you see those massive dips coming, and you're like, oh fuck, and then you sell, right? But you're not just selling; you're trading out of, say, Cardano, which is on the Ethereum blockchain. So now you're getting charged $60 to trade out of it, and then say, I don't know, into SafeMoon, which has a 13% reflection fee. So then you know, then SafeMoon crashes and you trade back out of that and you get charged 13% plus 13% slippage plus the, you know what I mean? There's your Ponzi scheme. Really, the exchanges are the ones that are really just fucking people raw with no lube right in the eye socket. You know what I mean? It's Yeah, I don't know, man. What I do know though is that projects like Cardano and Matic, and some of the other ones are really actually going to be able to do good things, and that there is a very real possibility of achieving some redistribution of wealth. People have to be smart, but if you figure it out, crack the code. I mean, I have. I think at this point, it's just a matter of getting capital. I have no capital. My whole plan, the whole reason I've been doing this, and so I've gotten a little bit of flack, criticism from people that are like, if you don't have any money even, and you're, not even really invested in this stuff, why are you talking about it so much? And it's actually because I've been expecting an inheritance that is now 2 years behind when I expected to get it. And so I was trying to figure out what I could do to maximize that money when it came and turn it over so it would be a meaningful sum, because it's not going to be huge. Um, and so once I realized the potential there, I thought, well, I might as well tell everyone else what I've been learning, because even though it's not going to do me any good, I can still offer it to people that can benefit from it, you know? So that's honestly, like, that's the answer, you know? I mean, I really have spent like hundreds of hours researching, and I mean, just, you know, I haven't been well, and I don't, it's not like I have a normal job or something, so I just have all these hours and hours and hours to investigate all these protocols and learn about, you know, charts, and also, you know, like I talk about how I grew up outside of society. I was an outlaw my entire life. Never used banks, never used credit, never bought a car, never did anything like that. I mean, not on credit, anyways. And so I have suddenly been compelled to learn about financial literacy because I found myself accidentally with a family, and you know, and with an inheritance on the way. And I just thought, well, I should I should learn how to manage money and how to, you know, financial literacy, basically. And being the type of person that takes everything to absolute extremes, you know, I've learned Fibonacci sequences and how to read moving averages. And by the way, Bitcoin's been threatening a death cross on the charts. So if that happens, the last dip is gonna seem like a little bump in the road. Like, it was almost enough. And what you guys have to do, and if you're using crypto, I'll do my best to do this. The whales have been signaling, and you have to be careful, because the whales will send bad signals if they're trying to manipulate the masses so that they can profit from it. Elon Musk has been doing it, but there are also just whales that do it. But the last couple of times that the whales really manipulated the market, they sent signals. So if you were listening to them, the last time the guy said what time it was going to happen, and it's crazy that they can do that. Like, these guys have so much money and so much influence that they can tell you 7 p.m., May 23rd or 21st or whatever it was, we're going to cause this massive dip. And it actually happened. And so the people that took that whale seriously, when he posted that on Twitter or whatever, were able to capitalize on it massively. And as long as they continue to forecast their moves, then you can navigate through these dips and the extreme volatility in the market, and you're okay. But you just have to know where to look for the signals and who to take seriously and who to ignore. And there's definitely at least one whale signal that we know is real, because the last time he oh, a telegram to trade safely. That is not. That's not a thing. There was a Discord group, but here's the problem. All it takes is for one influencer to lose his fucking mind at the wrong moment, and your money is gone. Um, and that happened to me. That's actually what got me in trouble, because I was in. It's basically a pump group. That's what happens. That's what these guys are. The YouTube influencers. They, if you get big enough, you can choose a coin, and you can say, you can hype the coin as if you just think it's about to explode. But what's really happening is that you are compelling people to go and buy it, and they're causing the pump. So they create Discords and Telegram groups where they send a signal, everyone pumps it, and you just have to anticipate when the sell is going to happen, which isn't that hard, really. I mean, you get a feel for it eventually. And plus, once it starts, you can usually, as long as it's not, the dump doesn't happen too fast and too hard, I mean, you can set your slippage really high, and you'll lose a little bit of money, a little bit more money. But you know what I'm saying is, even if you don't get out at the top, you can still usually do okay. But for example, I got into one finally. This guy J Talks Crypto. You know, he's living in his car last year. He's now a millionaire. And Schmegmars, you know, it was a token that has a utility in terms of generating money for charity, and so I could feel good about it. And I knew they were about to pump it. So normally I wouldn't do this, but I rounded up all of our funds and put it in there because I knew they were going to pump it. And then all of a sudden, Jay himself comes into the Discord and he's like, what are you guys doing? Don't attach my name to this token and all this shit. And instantly the FUD that he created caused I've never seen. I saw SafeMoon do it once actually when a whale sold 7 trillion tokens at once. There wasn't even a red candle. It was just like nothing, and then way down at the bottom of the chart, the line started moving again. It's like a black hole. That was crazy, man. It was probably $100 million worth of tokens or something one person had. Because if you bought that shit at the beginning, there's a wallet out there that the buy is $45,000. It's now worth $250 million, and that was like a little while back. So it's probably a little bit less now, like 180 million. $45,000 this guy spent 59 days ago. That, I mean, Ponzi scheme or not, if it's doing that kind of shit for people, man, I don't, whatever, Ponzi scheme away, And also just to be able to raise money like what Cardano's doing in Africa, and it's not just about money either. The consolidation of information, our economy is information, is basically the thing, the commodity that has the value, and it all comes from the protocol level, and then it gets slurped up into the application layer, and then Google and Facebook, they are, it's just like the pyramid of the 1% with the other financial stuff, So one of the things that blockchain technology allows is the redistribution of information access. And it also helps us to expose frauds within our current culture that are not necessarily as evident as we need them to be, like voting. Okay? Even though the Democrats accused the Republicans in 2016 of colluding with Russia to rig an election, when the Republicans refused the Democrats this time, they acted like it was the stupidest thing they'd ever heard. Even though the guys that own the voting machine said they're not secure. An 11-year-old girl hacked one and changed the results in under 3 minutes. And, it's like, okay, how is it ridiculous then? Blockchain technology can facilitate 100% unfuckwithable elections. It's been around for 20 years. If they don't want elections to be rigged, why aren't they using it? Riddle me this, Batman, like what the fuck is that? You know what I mean? And when you can ask a question that makes that much sense and you get nothing but a hollow thud, like, you know what I mean? There's no good answer as to like why governments, like, they have intelligence agencies. I mean, you guys understand what an intelligence agency is for. They're supposed to figure out the best ways to do shit. If someone that just started using computers like 2 years ago or whatever, you know what I mean? Like, if I know what the answer would be to making elections foolproof, I don't think that the suggestion that the government just doesn't know or something could possibly be valid, right? I mean, if I know that blockchain technology could secure elections, the NSA and the CIA are fucking aware of that as well. And then the logical next step in this deduction, yeah, like, if they know how to create transparent, totally, secure elections, and they're choosing not to employ the technology, why would that be? I mean, not that I think, if you guys follow me, you know what I think about democracy. It's the dumbest thing ever, like, especially in the United States of America. Socrates hated the idea of democracy, and you know why? Because you have to have an illuminated, highly intelligent populace. Otherwise, your democracy is going to be a motherfucking disaster. And if your empire is really, really powerful and has the capacity to, say, kindle the same energy that lights the stars upon their enemies, and they've done it before. You don't want a bunch of idiots with no education that aren't enlightened choosing the leaders that have the power to drop stars on their enemies and women and children in places like Hiroshima and Nagasaki, right? I mean, if you just think this through a little bit, it actually doesn't make any sense. It's not like, and you know, the 33rd degree Freemason Albert Pike wrote in the book Morals and Dogma in 1851, the will of the people is always wrong. And this guy was supposed to be one of the pillars of American democracy. They never believed in it. American democracy has never been real. It's not supposed to be real. It's a pacifier. That's all it is. That's all it's ever been. And if it did anything, it would be illegal. That's the reality of it, you know. And again, blockchain technology has been around for 2 decades. That is what, 5 election cycles or something? And they're still not using it, even though the CEO of the voting machines has said that they're not secure and they've been hacked by kids, you know, just to demonstrate that they're not. And people on both sides, the Democrats accused, you know, during the Trump versus what's her cunt election, and then the Republicans accused them last time. And you know, and it's like whoever is being accused is like, oh no, you couldn't rig an American election. And it's like, man, you guys, how do people do it, man? I know I talked about this last night, but it really does get to me, man. Like, how can the same people that accuse the other side of rigging the election and colluding with Russia act like it's absolutely ridiculous to suggest it a few years later? Like, as if they all weren't saying that, like, and it's not like the videos aren't on YouTube still of the Democrats accusing Putin to his face. I mean, what are they trying to do? Start a war with Russia? Like, he was super cool about it too, you know. He's just like, just kind of blew it off, you know. But they did. And then when the right wing, you know, and I think they did have good grounds to be suspicious. I don't know that there's any good evidence. You know, I haven't seen any like really solid evidence, other than the fact that right after the election, the first time that Joe Biden went on YouTube, and or not on YouTube, but he had a, you know, he spoke publicly, and they put it on YouTube. It was like 80% dislikes. It's like, okay, this guy just won with more votes than Obama. Everyone loved Obama. And it didn't make sense. I mean, it made about as much sense as COVID not coming from a laboratory, even though it was found on the doorstep of the only laboratory in the world that engineers that specific type of virus, which is not normally even infectious for humans and only became infectious after it came right by that, you know what I mean, came from right by that laboratory. Like, come on, people, you know, snap the fuck out of it. Like, it's getting so ridiculous that I just can't handle it anymore. You know what I mean? Like, people get mad at me for calling people idiots and stuff, and it's like, man, come on, you can only behave so dangerously and so, you know, stupidly before somebody just bluntly calls you a fucking idiot, you know, and that's where we're at with all this stuff. I mean, it's just so ridiculous. So, you know, help me find investors, you guys. Let's buy this like 1,500 hectare chunk of rainforest, make a sustainable place. We can sluice gold out of the rivers, grow food. There's already 1,500 acres of corn planted. There's already buyers in place. I mean, it's like so turnkey, it's unbelievable, you know? So, and I think I already have a few investors, so we just need a couple more people, man. Or, you know, get in touch with me if you want to see the rainforest and just help me raise money by coming down here, and you know, I'll take you to the different shamans in the area, and you can drink ayahuasca, and we can run around in the jungle like monkeys and swing from vines. Yeah, man. No, it didn't make any sense. And, you know, like, I don't like any of them. I say that every time I talk about them because it seems like every time I criticize uh, Biden, people, it was crazy during the election because I would preface things like, if I posted on Facebook, I would say, like, I don't like Trump. I think he's an incestuous pedophile piece of shit. But Biden is blah, 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 blah. And then my comments would fill up with people like, oh, I knew you were a racist closet Trump supporter. Like, what? How does it make me racist? This is because I criticize Biden. He's white, I'm white. Like, but that, I mean, it was so common that people would say that, you know, like, oh, yeah, I knew it. You're a closet Trump supporter. It's like, no, Biden evil piece of shit. I'm just pointing out the obvious. Like, we can't, you know, constantly choosing one. It's not even the lesser evil. I'm really not convinced. Like, you guys, I was a liberal my whole life, I guess. I mean, I'm definitely more liberal than anything else. When people say that you can be too progressive, I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with you? There's no such thing as too progressive. Progressive just means like you're moving forward. Like, we should do that as rapidly as possible. You know, like you you have to. That's good to be progressive. Period. End of story. There's no way to if you think progressive is a bad thing, you have been victimized by propaganda. Period. End of story. One of the things that kills me the most about the right wing is that they think they're taking down this like hidden cabal of evil people, but they're spewing propaganda from all of the big business. Uh, yeah, I know. I know that they're brainwashed, but they're a threat to me, and they're a threat to the Amazon where I live, and they're, you know what I mean? Like, I understand that they're brainwashed, but it doesn't help really. It doesn't get us any closer to resolving the situation, and it doesn't neutralize the threat that they represent. What my new slogan is: if you're complacent, you're complicit. Right, and that's true. If there, you cannot, like, somehow we have to disenfranchise everyone from any political party, and in my opinion, also all of the religions. Like, basically, if you are a Democrat or a Republican and you want to talk politics with me, everything you say is automatically invalidated. As soon as I realize that I'm talking to someone who is regurgitating the doctrine of some pre-packaged, you know, ready to order doctrine, whether it's religious or political, you know what I mean? Like, you have lost all credibility in my mind if you're trying to speak to me about something spiritual and you are a born again Christian, a Muslim, a Buddhist, any fucking thing. I'm done with you. Like, I'm not even hearing it. It's just wind whistling through my ears, you know? I, I don't even hear it. It's a very different thing if you are just influenced by elements of, you know, some religion or philosophy or political doctrine. But when, like, I saw a Buddhist monk talking, I think yesterday, and he kept saying, we believe, we think, we. It's like, well, what do you think? You know what I mean? What is this we say shit? Like, you know, and I think the Buddhists often get like this like free pass, like they're somehow um, not blinded by religious doctrine and dogma and stuff. It's not true. And anyone that speaks in this kind of hive mind, you know, we think, we say, like, you're brain dead. You know what I mean? I don't care if you're wearing a saffron robe and you meditate all day, you're still not thinking for yourself. And for me, it's all about individual gnosis. It's about individual, the sovereignty of the individual will, and it's about creating your own universe. Uh, yeah, I know. I don't like. I do consider Buddhism to be the lesser evil of all of the major religions. But I also suspect that anything that has been institutionalized or accepted on a really widespread basis is to be viewed with, you know, I don't want to say contempt, but definitely, uh, you know what I mean? I think that it was probably engineered to create homogenous pacifists, just like Christianity was. You know, I mean, they actually found in 2013 old Roman documents where the Romans explain how they created the concept of Jesus Christ, why they created the concept of Jesus Christ. The Palestinians believed that there was a warrior Messiah that was coming, and so they were, you know, kind of like Hamas now. I guess they were just dangerous and scary, and so. Not that I support Palestine over Israel, I guess. I mean, anybody that's blowing anybody else up is wrong. So both sides are wrong, you know. But Palestinian land and the genocide and the starvation and all of the shit they're doing to them. Um, so that's not what I mean. I'm just pointing out that I'm not saying that Palestinians are like bad because they're Palestinians. I'm just saying they were very warrior like. And the Romans were trying to find a way to turn them into uh, pacifists and make them easier to control. And not just the Palestinians, but other pagan types. And that's why they co opted all of their holidays. I mean, everybody knows all this shit. But it's like, even though we now have basically proof, and the proof isn't just that we have documents from the Romans that say, like, yes, we created Jesus Christ, and this is why, and this is how. Uh, One of the things they mention is that they patterned his ministry. So everywhere that he stopped and spoke was, and it's in the same chronological order as the military campaign of Titus. So they just they used the military campaign map, I guess, of Titus uh, to create the story, the timeline of, you know, where Jesus went and when he stopped, and every aspect of his life and being and personality and everything can be traced to earlier myths. So he's a composite figure. So it's like when you can trace the influences of this story without question to their origins, you know, we know for certain that it's not real. It's not. I mean, I knew that already. Anyone that is really conscious at all knows that religions are all bullshit. Like totally complete fundamental fucking bullshit. And if you're becoming conscious and you're still religious, there is hope for you. You you might get better. You know what I mean? It's possible for you to snap out of it and realize that, you know, it's just indoctrination. If you are from South Carolina and you're a Baptist not because baptism is the truth, but because you were born in South Carolina and that's people are Baptist there. You know, if you're from India, you're Hindu. If you're an Aborigine, you believe in the dream time. And so I think, you know, one of the duties and consequences of becoming awake is transcending all of that kind of crap. We have to rise above political parties. We have to transcend religious indoctrination. We have to transcend even philosophical indoctrination. And this, you know, I know I was just criticizing Buddhism, but I also say that there is value in everything. I'm not trying to invalidate the things that have value within these systems. I just think that, you know, we're conditioned intentionally to not question the tools that they use to create the homogenous pacifist sheep, you know, population, which is what they created Christianity and Buddhism and all of these other religions. That's what they're for, to create a harmless, uh, controllable, manageable population. It's literally what they were created for. And, you know, I don't know if I finished that thought, but that's what the Romans said, that they created Christianity as a way to make pacifists out of the Palestinians. Um, that's what religions are for. That's how they're used. So, uh, we have to the future is syncretic. Syncretic traditions are those that are derived from numerous other sources, and so we may retain the meditative practices of Buddhism, but we don't necessarily need to retain the obsession with suffering, for example. Uh, we can take the lessons of Jesus not to throw rocks at hookers, which I don't really think we needed a prophet to tell us. I mean, I don't know what else he said that was supposed to be so amazing that people believe he's the Son of God. But to me, it seems like I mean, my son uh, is not even 2, and I think he knows pretty much everything that Jesus taught intuitively. And if people become disconnected with that, it's because of the influences of their environment. It's not, we don't need religion for anything. And I'm particularly hard on Christianity because I think that of all of the religions, it is the most toxic, the most damaging, the most oppressive. I mean, Muslim, Islam, that whole trip, but it's related, I mean, they're like cousins. They have like some of the same prophets and the same, it's like an extension. Like later they just added on to it because like Christianity wasn't oppressive enough. So they had to like, build it up and make it like more ironclad and restrictive um, and it's fundamentally used. The stuff on Romans creating Jesus. All you have to do is Google "We created Jesus Christ," and you'll a whole bunch of articles on the guy that he was actually the irony of it is that he started out as a Bible scholar that was looking to prove that it actually happened. And the conclusion he came to is that it wasn't real. So that's hilarious. But so yeah, I mean, we have to keep the best parts of all of this stuff. When I criticize democracy, I'm not saying that people shouldn't have a voice. I'm saying that if you have a totally vapid, empty, reductionist, deterministic, material uh, culture with a complete and total crisis of purpose, you don't want these mindless, uneducated morons choosing world leaders that have the capacity to kindle nuclear energy on their enemies and women and children, which they've done. That doesn't make any sense. You don't want those people choosing leaders. So what we have to do is create a different society. And I know that it sounds like a monolithic task and that I am almost coming from a place of like utopian idealism, but the reality is that we have to. This is not like an option at this point. Whether or not we take things to this extreme, we have to completely overhaul our entire culture and our entire society, and we have to do it very, very rapidly. And I think that's why, for example, a compound like DMT exists. I actually predicted that DMT would be the catalyst to the next stage because LSD is actually much more mild, really. It is far less strange, and I think that the explanation basically is that unless you take really, really massive doses of it, it only brings part of the filter down. Like the reducing valve in our consciousness is only just turned off a little bit. You know what I mean? It's reduced just 15%. So we're letting in more, but it's not like, DMT turns the whole mechanism off for like 10 minutes. So the real underlying fundamental reality is suddenly fully exposed. And what we find when we peel that layer back is so extraordinary, so unbelievable, that it is literally impossible to. It's like in the movie The Matrix when they have the two pills, I don't remember which was which, and you take one and there's no going back. That's what DMT is. And so that's what we need at this point. We don't have 10 years as modern people with jobs and careers. And I mean, I would like to see us all escape the fucking Matrix too. And I think that We're it's funny. I was talking about how there are no mosquitoes here, and there's like a giant tomahawk helicopter-sized mosquito trying to eat me. Um, Still, look, you guys, Amazon rainforest. I'm outside at night and I'm not getting bitten. You know, it's pretty incredible. Um, so what was I saying? I've been talking for 99 minutes with barely a breath. The complete and fucking total overhaul of our consciousness, our culture via the evolution of consciousness. Like, it is much more realistic, I think, than it sounds. Um, no, man, it's not malaria. This has been going on for years. It's getting much worse. But it's liver damage for sure. My liver is like swollen on bad days. Like when I feel really bad, my liver is like this huge hard thing, and it's because I took a lot of pharmaceutical drugs when I was younger, I think. Yeah, thumbprint crystal doses of LSD. Here's the thing, you guys. Let me destroy some LSD myths. But what I was saying, I want to finish that thought about DMT. There's a number of, no, I didn't really drink much. I took pharmaceutical painkillers for decades because I had an autoimmune condition that caused just absolute misery. And I could cover the symptoms up and sort of function if I took painkillers, which really wouldn't have been that much of a problem. It's actually the filler, the acetaminophen and stuff that probably destroyed my liver. So, you know, this experience of the fundamental underlying reality, to see the wiring under the board and realize how extraordinarily incredible. I mean, I've seen people take their first hit of DMT more than once. And going into it, I would ask them, you know, as a facilitator, I try to give as much information as I can. You know, like, what is your current BS belief system, right? Oh, well, I'm a nihilist. Okay. And then the guy smokes the DMT, and like 10 seconds into it, he goes, we are an eternal consciousness. There is no death. Like, it's like, really, dude? And he didn't even take the 3 big hits, you know, it was like 2 little puffs, and that just comes out of his mouth almost instantly. I mean, it's fucking incredible what it does. And it's true, you know, it's true. Um, so what I'm saying is that we now, in our super fast-paced modern culture, where people don't have time to sit around and meditate for, you know, 20 years in a cave, or even spend 12, 14 hours on LSD. Maybe it's a really, really, what do you call it? Emocionado. It's really exciting. Uh, it, oh, man. Um, and so you don't actually sleep for 18 hours, you know? I mean, it's just very time consuming and exhausting. And so everyone has 10 minutes for DMT. And LSD, there's all kinds of horror stories. I challenge you, get on Google right now and find me one person that has hurt themselves, killed themselves. Nothing. I have not been able to find fucking anything of any evidence that anyone has harmed themselves with DMT. You know, I mean, there are some bad experiences where people had a rough 10 minutes. So, the bulletin point there is that we have a compound that it basically induces some degree of enlightenment instantly, only lasts for like 10 or 15 minutes. Yeah, salvia I think is terrible. I mean, I know that some people have transcendental experiences and that's cool, but it seems to me that salvia is more like when Frodo puts the ring on in The Lord of the Rings, and it's like just terrible. That's kind of what salvia seems like to me. I have no interest. I'm also getting really tired. Um, so there is hope, you guys. I mean, we know what to do. People are doing it. The opposition, I think, is tremendous. The machine that we are confronting is. I mean, you remember that guy from Linkin Park that killed himself? I hated that band. I absolutely hated them. But the last album they made was actually kind of meaningful. And they had this song where he's talking about how it can't be stopped, it can't be outrun, it can't be undone. And that's why he killed himself. I think he realized what we were up against and the gravity of the situation. Um, so, I acknowledge that, but thank you, Rob. Um, we have to try anyways. And so, just to recap, this land, this opportunity, I'm definitely going to really try to find investors. If you're interested, just contact me through one of my social media channels. 1,500 hectares, or yeah, and corn and gold, and so we have ways to pay for the land if we can just get in there and conserve, this massive piece of rainforest and work with the local indigenous communities. We have the cryptocurrency company that is interested in helping to maybe get involved with this. There's a lot of potential here. So if you are, and also you guys, what if society does collapse? It's like room temperature all the time here. It's the Amazon rainforest, but it's not hot. No mosquitoes, food growing everywhere. I mean, it's definitely like wise to at least set this place up to have somewhere to escape to if it's necessary or if we just want to. So do me a favor, hit the like button, share, subscribe, smoke lots of DMT, but do it for the right reasons. And you can send a one-time support to PayPal or Zelle. I think it's like $650,000 for the property. But we're definitely looking for, and they're building this and already constructed and stuff, So we're definitely looking to get like a group of people together. But the reason that we have to protect, again, the reason we have to protect the land from the Chinese is because there are tons of gold, and you can get a lot of it just by sluicing, which you can build without damaging anything. So, I mean, I'm going to go check it out. And that's another reason that I need your support on Patreon or the Zelle and PayPal email or the cryptocurrency wallet address. You can help me with that because I'm going to have to rent a guide in a canoe and go out to the jungle and check the property out. And I'll do some test pans. And so we can get some videos and make absolutely sure there's really a bunch of gold there that can help pay for the property. No, 1,500 hectares. So it's $175 an acre. And there's already enough corn. Like the woman explained to me, how much each acre produces and how many acres there are. And it sounds like the corn alone more than pays for the mortgage. And there's fruit everywhere. There's bananas and plantains. And you can plant naranjillas and then there's all kinds of fruit and different nuts and stuff that the palms produce crazy amounts of all kinds of different food. There are these little black palm olive sort of things that are almost like aguacates, avocados, but they have just like a little bit of purple edible stuff inside and like a hard seed in the middle and like a black crunchy shell. And those grow prolifically. There are these like big orange palm fruits that are almost like a pumpkin or something if you eat them. There are the palm hearts, which you have to cut a tree down to get to, but in a pinch. I don't know. Just send me a message on Facebook, the Facebook groups, the Discord. You can join the Discord. My Instagram is in the description. The email in the description. You can use that. But yeah, I'm definitely serious about it, man. I want to try to get some people together. And like I said, as soon as my partner gets back so that I have somebody that's fluent in Spanish, I'm going to rent a canoe and I'm going to go and check the property out. So if you're interested, please make a contribution to help us with these expenses because our ultimate goal is conservation. And, typically I'm paying for everything out of my pocket all the time, and so it's difficult for us because I'm not in good health. And, But you know, I keep fighting it to my last breath to try to make a difference in the world and do something meaningful, because you know, I think that lack of purpose is what is wrong. Um, why we just have this chaostrophe that has us all precariously perched over a precipice dangling above the abyss. You know, and it really is sort of like a paradise down here. It's incredible walking around in the jungle, all of the food that is everywhere. You know, if you go with an indigenous guide and they just know everything, you know, they're just explaining to you all the medicine all around you and all the uses of all the different stuff. And there's a plant here that has like where the leaves connect to the stem. There's like this hollow pod, and if you break it open, there are ants in it that taste just like lemons. They're even sweet. It's like sweet lemonade. It's the most ridiculous thing. So you know, the jungle's just incredible, and uh, as a child surrounded by poverty and violence and alienated from all the rich kids at the school that I went to, they were like literally the children of the elite. Uh, my escape was reading about the Warani and the jungle, and you know, and now I'm here, and it's like that's what kept me going. So now I'm here to keep it going. And you know, I mean, I've told you guys that I did not know even that I was coming to, you know, within 30 miles of where the barely contacted tribe that I was reading about in those books as a child. It's like literally the same, the same tribe, and it's totally like a, you know, fluke, accident, coincidence that it's that tribe that I happen to just land right next to. So 111 minutes, you guys. That's it. Um, I'll probably see you tomorrow because I'm just doing this live streaming thing every day because I can't do much else anyways, and I'm trying to raise money, you know, so that we can try to make some stuff happen. My partner's going to be back in a few days, and that way I'll have an interpreter. The first thing we're going to do is go to see the Shipibo healer lady and see if she can help me, and that's going to cost a lot of money too. So but we'll interview her and hopefully get her involved with the cryptocurrency thing. We're trying to get some of the indigenous leaders here set up with wallets so that we can try to empower them to take what little money they have for conservation in their projects and blow it up. So help us out if you can, and at least hit the like button and subscribe, because you know, I'm getting little bits of influencer gigs, but I need more followers in order to really, you know, be able to ask for substantial contributions to facilitate my endeavors down here. So, thank you guys, and good night.